everybody, how's it going? Dan Schinder here with
me,
Jason Johnny, on a tribute to the tributes. And this is all about why do we do this? Like, why would we pay tribute to tribute bands? Well, let me ask you a question, folks. Have you ever been in a bar or a pub or gone to a quinceañera or a wedding or a bar mitzvah or whatever, a Water Buffaloes meeting, and there's some band playing, right? And they're playing 80s music or 70s classic rock, blues, whatever, and they might play, I don't know, Zeppelin, AC/DC, Free, Leonard Skinner, all these different bands, right? But they all sound like the same band. They sound like the bar band. So Jason, what's the juice in all this?
Well, the juice is that, boy, the amount of work that bands put into really studying the details of these amazing acts that came before us is work within itself, man. You know, it's like all this great work you put in to get to be a better musician and get to have better gigs and get to have better experience around the world. And that's kind of where the music business has gone lately, is getting into these extravagant tribute acts for Queen and Zeppelin and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of really, really good bands that you and I are starting to find in our research that are tribute to not only some of the biggest bands in the world, but some of the bands that perform at the maximum level of musicianship.
Yeah.
And we got one today.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the math. It's not just about putting the beats and the notes in the right place and the right chords. It's also about emulating the language of each musician, the keyboard player. Is he or she getting the sounds, the vocal articulation, the sound of the drums, the bass sound, and the technique in which they play? That's how you're going to put more tools in your toolbox to expand your horizons as a musician and not just play a variety of different band songs, but it all sounds like that same garage band, if you will. So today we're featuring Manticore, which is a tribute to ELP. Let's kick it off with their promo video to start with. Here we go. Check this out, folks.
Walk
go to the website later, not now, and see how that ends. So that last piece is the third impression of Carnival 9. One of my favorite things to play personally. I just love that whole suite of Carnival 9. First impression, parts 1 and 2. Second impression, which is totally different. And third impression, different still. I love that stuff. They do a really good job. Before we started the show, you commented on how impressed you were with Rob's keyboard sounds. There's a lot there to emulate.
Yeah, it's amazing. The first thing I was thinking was like, okay, where is the wall of Moogs?
The big switchboard
yeah, the switchboard
that Lily Tomlin used on Laugh-In when she played the operator.
Exactly.
I don't know how many people watching are old enough to remember that.
I got your reference there. So, yeah, no, he does a great job. The sounds are excellent. I saw at one point Rob do the turned around thing where he's playing upside down.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talk about on a regular basis on our show is how far and what direction do these tribute bands go to emulate what they're going after. And I think Manticore has done a really good job at from a stage standpoint as well, or I should say especially with Rob doing all the multiple keyboards and the sounds that he's getting. John's two gongs, which like
I love it.
Carries that, yeah, it's amazing, and all the different instruments that Ron is playing, and they did a really good job with the presentation for sure, and the sound is obviously great. So thumbs up.
You know what's funny is that in their history, as you know, they started out as a 4-piece back in 2016, and until recent times, until about 2020, they went to a 3-piece. Even though when I told you when I was much younger, I played in a band, a really good band, and we played some ELP songs, and we were a 5-piece at that time, and I can't imagine ELP as a 4-piece now, which is like really stupid because we were bass, drums, keyboards, vocals, and guitar, and we played some ELP. We played Jerusalem, Tarkus, Toccata, and First Impressions, part 1 and 2, and number 3. Maybe we played all of them. This is a very long time ago. And like we did it because we played other stuff as well. We played Zeppelin, we played Boston, we played Yes, we played Genesis and Deep Purple and Queen. And now seeing the 3 of them, my point is seeing Rob, John, and Ron, I can't imagine a 4th person. Like, what the fuck would they be doing? I know that sounds kind of narrow-minded, but it just emphasizes, again, your point that the 3 of them do a really good job. The presentation is great. The sounds are great. And so far from what I've seen, their assortment of song selections is great also.
Well, I think you answered your own question in that, we've been speaking about this for a long time, whether, we're dealing with either cover bands, which we don't deal with, tribute bands, which are, really a tribute to the bands themselves,
right?
Or a role-playing band where they're like exactly like the band.
They reenact everything. They dress like
them.
Yeah.
And I think, I think when, in all due respect to your previous band, that sounds more like a cover band, despite the fact that you were covering great stuff. I think when the mark of a band that is a good tribute band is they really try to woodshed the parts to make it as good as they can. They try to pare it down to a 3-piece the way ELP was, and they did all this this work behind the scenes to make sure their parts are exactly the way they're supposed to be. So it's the right thing to do, and it probably takes more work than the average band, than the average cover band, than the average song.
Definitely.
But,
let alone this type of material.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. Is they really have to put the time into this type of material to make a 3-piece work. And again, bravo, they've done it. And one thing as a side note, I'm really, and we were talking about this before we got on, I'm really enjoying our program that we do because we get to really start doing research on stuff that we would have normally have never seen.
Right. And hopefully people watching will feel the same way, that we're able to bring you stuff that's interesting and you're learning from it. That's the whole point of this, is that you're learning from what other musicians have done to get really good at the thing they've decided to focus on.
Right. Yeah. That's the key, is like, we know how good musicians are. We know how good this music is. But when you really start digging in the dirt, you start seeing people like, wow, they put a lot of time into making something that would normally be like really challenging to do to replicate it and do a really good job at it,
Absolutely. And folks, when I look over here, I'm not watching the Flintstones like when I interviewed Carmine Appice. I'm actually looking at looking at comments. Adam Steincipher says, awesome. And Joshua VP says, hey, Dan, hey, Mr. Gianni, ready to give me some drum lessons soon?
Yes, Josh, I am.
Yeah, good. Folks, we're going to show a quarantine version of them playing some of Carnival 9 third impression, or rather, is this one the third impression?
I think it was third, right?
It is third impression, the quarantine version. And this is cool because John's playing just a 4-piece kit, which is really, he made it work, which I really appreciate. And give us some comments on what you think of this. And I just saw that Manticore is watching. Hey, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for this great stuff, guys.
Yeah, let's do this. We'll go back to comments. Chime in, folks. Let us know what you think and let them know what they think because they're watching. Here we go. Love that piece to begin with, and it's so cool seeing other people play it because this isn't the type of music you just walk into a place and go, oh, they're playing Carnival 9 third impression. Hey, it's like so rare. I love that. I honestly can't think of another ELP tribute band that I've come across, so this is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some bands play ELP, and I've certainly played my share in bands as well. But as a tribute, no. So it's very very unique, and I have to make an announcement. All that you were probably going to say is that Rob made sure to say that this was during quarantine, and they were doing a rehearsal, and they don't wear masks in rehearsals anymore. So
right.
I first saw that, and actually one of the first videos I did online for just my own social media was the same way. I was just like, you know what? Everyone's wearing a mask. I'm going to play in my own basement with a mask on. What the hell?
With no one around.
Yeah, with no one around. So that was the first thing I saw. I was like, they did it too. So, yeah.
That's cool. Very cool video. And Joshua says, let me read this comment over here. I'm going to take the mic with me just so I'm not too far away. So it says, damn, that's awesome. Excellent music. The extended bass notes, perfect. I see a lot of hours, snare drum work, and keys are spot on. Joshua really knows his music. I love that. The keys are spot on. Guys, have to be a fan. What a tribute. The point, where's the Korg M1? If you don't see it, but you hear it, I don't think it matters what anyone's using.
Yeah, just close your eyes, man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Someone asked me years ago, I did I did a recording that was like a montage of music I wrote as a sampler to get film music work. And someone said, are those real drums or are those samples? Or I says, if you had to ask, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of the same thing. Right?
Exactly. And don't mention the masks anymore. That's it. They're not wearing them. So
Right. Did you ever see ELP live?
No, I don't believe I did. Oh, wait, or did I? I'm not remembering now. No, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Do you remember
Francisco when I
what
lived
tour
there,
it was?
It was. Did they play? I think they won. I want to say they played a tour with Deep Purple. Does that sound right?
That they what?
Like played a tour with Deep Purple.
I don't know.
I'm almost positive. I could be wrong.
Interesting. I'm not sure
if
when that
anything,
would
it was
have
around
been.
maybe like 2000 or something like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Interestingly, I have so many ELP DVDs that I feel like I've seen them live, but I actually saw Emerson, Lake and Powell live. Which was cool, which was actually really great.
You know what? I'll tell you, one of my best memories musically when MTV was really a music channel was the 40th anniversary.
Wait, they used to play music?
No, never. The 40th anniversary of Atlantic Records. I don't know if you remember that show. Or
Oh, yeah,
anything about it.
absolutely.
Yeah. And it was at the time when Robert Berry was in the band, which I ended up working with. Robert's wonderful guy, wonderful musician. And they played, their whole instrumental, what do you call it? When you put songs together?
Medley.
Medley. Thank you. Brain not working. And it was wonderful. It was incredible. And it was a really, really great memory because they were so on top of their game, even with not having Greg Lake there. And then Greg Lake came back, and I did see them live. Yeah, I'm remembering now. I did see them live. It was great. And, so many years of music. And it's great to see a tribute band out there for them. It's awesome.
What song would you like to see Manticore play that, for far as I know, you haven't seen yet? Because I know we didn't plow through their whole channel and everything. We have a few things that they sent. We're going to show some more, folks, so hang on. But is there something in particular you'd love to see them play and nail?
I mean, I'm just a huge fan of Tarkus.
Me too. Yeah.
That's to me their crowning achievement. And
I have to say, if I could, on Tarkus, I'd like, because there is a difference. I love playing to the Welcome Back, My Friends live version as opposed to the studio version.
Oh,
it's so different just from the tempo standpoint and sounds that I'd love to see Manticore do that. So Rob, Ron, John, if you have a video of that, send that to us and we'll put that on Drum Talk TV to promote the replay of this. We'll link
song
it.
I'd love to see. I'm sure they do it, but it's besides Tarkus, it's my favorite song on Tarkus.
C'est la vie?
Bitches Crystal. What did you say?
I said C'est la vie from Works.
C'est la vie. Yes, that one. No. Bitches Crystal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a
love
great
that tune.
Oh, I'd love to see that. If you guys have that, send us that. That's a
Yeah.
great song. And I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure you guys, I could just talk directly to them since they're watching, or at least Rob is. I'd love to see Pirates, and I believe you played it because I saw the logo in one of the photos from your promo video that we showed. So I'm curious. I did see them play Pirates with Cozy Powell when Cozy was with them.
Cool. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that's
You know,
a
it's
great
funny,
song.
I kind of like, my music, my brain started to turn on musically a lot more around the time of Emerson, Lake and Powell because I was a teenager in the
I was going to say,
80s.
you're a lot younger than I am.
Get off my lawn. I'm getting old though. I certainly feel it. But I had always known ELP's stuff, but I wasn't as into them. And then when Emerson, Lake and Powell came out, and Touch and Go came out, and everything was such a huge hit, I was like, wow, this is really good. But listening back now, it's very different. Obviously than the traditional ELP, but it's also still very good. And I love Cozy's playing on it. It's phenomenal,
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
It's interesting those two periods there,
Yeah, interesting. Let's show Let's go ahead and show some of Tank, even though it's vertically shot. Folks, when you see a band play, shoot your videos like this if you use a phone, not like this. Video players are shaped like this. Listen to your Uncle Dan. YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo. They'll still work on mobile-only platforms like TikTok or Instagram. It'll show in the top third up there. But use... Okay.
You're so nice when you're quiet.
My wife thinks so as well. Here we go. So do all the kids. Here we go. Guys, that is so good. That is spot on, and the keyboard just sounds exactly like the album. It sounds great. So let me see if I can get this to work. This might take some fumbling around, folks, so bear with me. They sent Bitches Crystal at Jason's request, so I'm gonna. I'll click on the link, but it may take me a moment to size the player in front of our window so it plays properly. So let's check this out. Bear with me here. We're gonna move this up here. Whoops, that's not quite right. Hold on.
Now we'd like to do a real bitch of a song.
All right, let's see how this goes. Hopefully it's showing in the player properly. Steven, let me know. Or I can see it on the monitor.
We're good.
All right. All right, check this out, folks. This is cool. Very cool. Okay, one more request since we're at it, guys. How about I'd love to see my answer, not only Tarkus, would be Trilogy. I'd love to see that.
Cool.
I'd love to see, hold on, let me look it up real quick. Hold on. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves.
This is Dan's wheels turning, ladies and gentlemen.
It smells like burnt rubber, I'm sure.
You can hear the
or
brakes
burnt rubbers, I don't know.
The car coming to a halt.
Man, what's the song I'm thinking of? Here we go. Oh, and Enigma would be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a great album, Trilogy. Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about their background.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would help. And I bring that up because I thought it was cool how first of all, they're somewhat of a relatively new band, although they've been veterans in the music scene in New York for a while. But I think it was cool how they mentioned that the death of Keith Emerson and Greg Lake brought them together, which, it's never a great thing, obviously, when that happens. But I think it's a great reason to honor them. Honor ELP for sure. And I remember hearing that news, and I don't know, which one went first? I think it was Keith Emerson who died first, if I'm not mistaken. And it was Greg, like, right after that. And it was one of those news items where you read on the second death, you're like, yeah, I know, I heard this already. I know Keith Emerson died. And then you read a little more and go, oh, Greg Lake died too? It was one of those things where you're like, man, Jesus, you keep an eye on Carl, man.
Yeah.
Let's everybody just put their arms around him and protect him, So it was a really shocking time to see both of them die with such a short, in a short period of each other, and then how the dominoes fall after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had Carl on Drum Talk TV a couple months ago at the most, something like that. God, he looks great, and he still just plays so well. It's amazing the shape he's in.
Yeah.
And just, he's taking really good care of himself. But yeah, that was pretty heavy. Steven's chiming in. He says we had Carl on June 1st. So time flies, but that was fun. That was the second time I had Carl on. The first time I had Carl on, I interviewed him in Beverly Hills at his art showing, and Keith was there. And I got to meet Keith and spend a little time. I was looking at some books on a bookshelf, and he walked up next to me, pulled Neil Zalauer's book off the cover and showed it to me, and it went like this, because that's the name of the book. It's called I'll censor myself in case kids are watching. So I said, let's take a picture, Keith. So I took a picture. I'm like, man, you're frowning. He says, I'll smile if I can give the finger. I said, you can give the finger. And we took that picture that I post every year on his birthday. And I played a bunch of ELP on Drum Talk TV for his birthday as well. But what a pleasure to meet one of my absolute favorite musicians that, as a drummer, inspired me so much musically. And it's great to see Manticore keeping their music alive, with what they're doing, and doing such a great job on it. So thanks, guys. I'm going to look at comments. So they're telling us we also play Endless Enigma completely. What an ordeal to learn, but really love the way to love it. On that note, as Jason was saying earlier, and when I alluded to, it's not just the math. It's one thing to learn the song and learn how it goes, but to match the sounds, this is probably absolutely one of the more difficult bands to do that with. Not that it's a breeze with Hendrix or Zeppelin or Cream, but let's face it, those sounds are much more accessible. You get a Strat and a Fender Stack. You get a Les Paul and a Marshall. It's a little easier to find and dial in that sound. But with stuff like the keyboards and the clicky bass, and you really got to work on that if you're going to sound like them and not just play. Sorry, I feel like I'm yelling. And not just play the math and put the notes in the right place, which is one thing. There's memorizing it. Okay, there's learning it. There's memorizing it. There's the physical dexterity to play it. And then you got to get the sounds. There's all those things involved to really make it work and not sound like a band that's just playing another song that sounds like them and not the band they're playing the song of. Right? Makes sense, everybody?
I gotta, there's a great band that I know we're taking a little left turn, but there's a great progressive band that I was listening to for many years on Magna Carta called Cairo. And I don't know if you've ever heard of them, or anybody who's listening ever heard of them. But the keyboardist Mark Robertson is really phenomenal. And for a while, he was like the closest thing I ever heard to Keith Emerson. He did a lot less like Moogie effects and stuff. It was more just the B3 stuff. But his playing and his approach to the B3 is really, really good. So I don't know if Rob has ever heard of Mark Robertson, but you guys should check out a great record called Conflict and Dreams from Cairo. It's on Magna Carta. It's very good, and they're a 3-piece and really good band, really good songwriters. Like, the music is great.
Wow, I gotta check that. Who's the drummer?
Jeff. Oh my God, why am I forgetting his last name?
That's
Great
a long
drummer.
last name. Oh.
All great musicians. Besides the musicianship, though, I happen to think they're very, very good songwriters.
Great.
They're not a three-piece. They were a four-piece. In fact, their singer Brett Douglas actually died at a really young age. But great band, really, really good keyboard players. You should check them out.
Great. And Rob says he's heard of Cairo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's give a little bit of more info on the lineup. We've got Rob Shepard on keys, piano from age 4, other tribute bands, Morse Code, Steve Morse, Dixie Dregs Music, and Afterlife and Real, which was a Genesis tribute. John Costando, drums from the age of 17. Band Spartacus was a cover band of more unique and progressive material and toured with the 80s band Videos. Stopped play for 30 years when Rob asked him to join Manticore. That's cool. John also builds his own drums. Very nice. Yep. Nice. And then Ron Ponella, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Ron. Vocals, bass, and guitar. Bass since age of 8. Removed the high strings of his guitar to make the shift, to make a makeshift bass.
Makeshift bass,
yeah. And a fan of Greg Lake and Prague from the beginning, named his first band Carnival. Awesome. Appeared on Uncle Floyd Show, writer and producer for media and commercials, etc. That's awesome. That's really cool. What a neat mixture of background where you're all just kind of collided for one really great purpose, which is cool.
I put those notes together, and I got to say that I made the Uncle Floyd Show reference, guys, because I'm from New Jersey and I'm a huge fan of Uncle Floyd. I'm sure Dan doesn't really know Uncle Floyd.
I've heard Uncle Floyd, but I'm not ingrained in it because I grew up on the West Coast in Cali, and now we're in the mountains in, I almost said Mexico. That's weird. We're not in Mexico. We're not in New Mexico. We're in 100 miles east of Phoenix. I don't know why Mexico popped. Maybe I want tacos. I don't know. We're 100 miles east of Phoenix in the mountains, and Jason's in Huntington, New Jersey, right?
Livingston.
Oh, you moved.
No.
Livingston.
Yes, I moved to Huntington.
I've known you for how many years? And half the time I get that wrong. What is up with that? Well, I thought I lived in Mexico for a minute, so.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you just had a stroke, for Christ's sake. No, but Huntington's a very popular place in New York, and it's easy to mix those up. But as a lifelong East Coaster, I was a massive fan of the Uncle Floyd Show. So knowing that they were on it, it's like, yes, nice. Or I think he was on. Ron was on Uncle Floyd, not necessarily the band, but still very. Very
yes. And a little promo here. It's in the post, but for those of you just watching the video and not reading the post, they have some upcoming shows. September 17th, Evening Star Concert Hall, Niagara Falls, New York. Bring Your Own Barrel. October 22nd, Debonair Music Hall in Tinnick, New Jersey. Bring Your Own Top Hat. November 12th, the Strand Theater. Be careful you don't fall off. That's at Hudson Falls, New York. December 10th, Barnum Ballroom. Bailey is not included. Irish Park, New York. February 3rd through 5th, 3 dates at Prague on the Ranch. How do you pronounce that? Muscari Town? I hope I got that right. Florida, they're going down south. April 22nd, 3 weeks after my birthday, in case anyone's keeping track. The Linda Performance Center in Albany, New York. So they got some gigs coming up. Go check them out. Make videos, and if you do, make them like this. Send them into Drum Talk TV, and we'll feature those videos. We'd love that. Hey, yeah, I'd love to see, by the way, sorry, Chase. I'd love to see a drum cam video of some of these songs and feature those, and we'll link it to this show as well. But guys, you're welcome to send in your material. Great job at what you're doing, keeping that ELP torch alive. Really, really great stuff. I'd love to see some youngsters dig into this music the way we've seen some youngsters gravitate towards nailing Zeppelin and, some other bands that are like 3 generations before them. ELP would be really nice to see some 7 to 14-year-olds. I know that sounds ridiculous. I was 15 to 17 when I was in that band. We were nailing it pretty well. We've seen other youngsters dropped off by aliens from other planets that are nailing some stuff. So that'd really be cool to see youngsters be influenced by this type of music. I would love that.
You're asking way too much of this new generation, pal. Way too much.
We only need 3 people. 3
okay,
people.
Fine.
Okay.
Two quick points, two more quick points on them, which I think are real cool little credits. Number one, they just played on Daryl's House, which I'm a huge fan of Daryl's House. And Brian Dunn is a friend, and he's a wonderful drummer, incredible, great player for Daryl Hall. And they're going to be performing, as you said, at Prague on the Ranch with a girl by the name of Rachel Flowers. And I don't know if anyone who's listening knows Rachel Flowers, but Rachel is a blind musician who is absolutely one of the most amazing multi-instrumentalists I've ever seen in my life. She is absolutely brilliant.
Was she featured at the tribute to Keith Emerson playing piano?
Yes, I believe she
Okay,
was,
that's where I
yes.
know her from. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. And she's a sweet girl, and I've done some recording with her. For anybody that knows my original progressive rock band, Stratusfurious, and Nick, my friend, just posted hi. And Rachel Flowers is amazing. Stratusfurious recorded a song for our upcoming record that hasn't been released yet with the wonderful Michael Sadler from Saga, lead singer of Saga, and a variety of musicians, including Rachel. And I'm going to post the video to the chat here in Facebook so everybody could see the song. It's called Storm Surge, and you'll see Michael, you'll see the band, and you'll see Rachel as well.
Nice.
So check that out for sure.
That's great. That'll be a fun gig.
Yeah.
It's cool that everyone's able to get out and start playing now. We've seen one band since all of this. Todd Zuckerman invited us to see Styx when they were out in Phoenix a few weeks ago, and they were phenomenal, I must say.
So good.
They were so good. They played stuff from their new album, which is maybe the most progressive thing they've ever done. And they played every hit you've ever heard of and more. And they sounded so good. It was fun to get out. And okay, I have a confession. I don't have a phobia about this, but I don't really like being around crowds. And when I do the NAMM show, I really have to bite the bullet for a week. It's a little difficult for me, but I get to be a little bit isolated in the Drum Talk TV booth. But it's kind of a challenge for me. But going out to that concert was great. Like I didn't mind it whatsoever because the atmosphere, summer night, outdoor venue with a roof and huge ceiling fans the size of helicopter propellers. We could feel the air conditioner from the stage. We were so close. And just to see a real band like that for our first outing out to see bands was great. We live 100 miles from Phoenix, so there's all these bands starting to come through now. And sometimes I don't find out about it till a week or three ahead of time, and my schedule's already set, and it's hard to get out and do all this stuff. Steve and I are going to be having Tom Brislin on Yes Shift, the vlog we do, and they're coming out on September 10th. But Steve and I already have the Close to the Edge 50th anniversary, and you know what I'm trying to say, tribute show on Yes Shift in the evening and me doing it during the day on Drum Talk TV. Really don't have any other place to do that. And they happen to be playing Kansas at the venue where, I don't know if I could say this yet, just between all of us watching, okay? It's going to be at the venue, I won't say what it is, where we're shooting the 10-year anniversary of Drum Talk TV for Amazon TV. But anyways, it's nice that everyone's able to get out and shoot all this stuff. Oh, I got to talk to you about that, by the way. Shoot all this stuff. Oops, I slipped. Play live. You're out playing live. You're going to be doing some Steely Dan soon, sitting in for our buddy.
Yeah. For those who watched our show here, and thank you for watching, the amazing band Royal Scam and Gino Amato, along with...
I don't think they're real. I don't think they're real. I think it's a scam.
Yeah. I get it. Okay. I'm going to be playing with Royal Scam at Sellersville Theater in Pennsylvania on September 10th coming up. In fact, when I hang up with you, I'm going to be working on Asia as we speak. But wonderful band, great. Talk about a great tribute band, and a band that really studies this music to the fullest. Incredible, and it's an honor to play with them. I'm very, very excited. It should be great.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And I might as well make an announcement. I don't even know if my son knows this yet. Steven Schinder, the associate producer of Drum Talk TV, and we do his show, Yes Shift, which I'm on with him. honored to do that. I got a confirmation email today that Jay Shellen is going to come on our show, and we're going to simulcast Drum Talk TV Yes Shift. Probably after they get back from Japan and do some of the U.S. tour, he's going to try to arrange it so we can do it from their production rehearsals in Philly, which will be really cool.
Jay is besides an amazing drummer. He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And I became a fan of Jay back in the late 80s when he played with the hair metal band Hurricane.
Oh, that's right. He was in Hurricane. I knew him from World Trade.
Yeah, but this was before World Trade. And there is, for anybody who knows Hurricane, you guys should check out a song called Baby Snakes. It's like a Hot for Teacher type of double bass shuffle kind of thing.
Oh.
And it's very funny. It's a funny song. It ends the Over the Edge record. And it's a wonderful, the whole record's great for those who like. And Kelly Hansen is the singer of Hurricane who has been singing with Foreigner for the last 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And Stephen just commented saying, wow, that's amazing. I guess he didn't see the email from Jay yet. That's funny.
Yeah.
And of course, like Steve says, Philly is an appropriate place for them to do those production rehearsals because the Spectrum is like probably their most fan appreciated venue in the United States, where some special stuff has happened. Nothing against the LA Forum, where I grew up seeing concerts, nothing against MSG in New York, but there's something about Philly, the state, and the Spectrum and other venues there that have been very special to Yes over the 54, 64, 70 years, however long. I stopped counting after 20.
Dan, I love you, but they've knocked down the Spectrum 15 years ago. But I still love you.
That's right.
No, it's the Wachovia Center where the Flyers play now.
That's right. That's where the Union shows were filmed.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And, funny.
And my wife's from Philly, and I went to school at the University of Delaware.
Oh, she is? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time at the Spectrum, and Philly has great music fans.
Yeah.
Great music fans. They're good for everyone. They don't have the best sports fans, but they have great music fans. And I got to see quite a bit at the Spectrum. I got to see Metallica at the Spectrum. I saw Yes at the Spectrum. So what you're saying is very true, but it's now a different arena for, at this moment.
Crazy. Manticore, all you guys, all three of you, in any order you want, you got to come out west. Take some time, get out here. I'd personally love to see you. I would go as far as Vegas to see you. There's a slight convenience there. We have 7 of our kids there. 7 of our kids. And we make some pilgrimages there, but there's some great places to play here in the Phoenix Valley. SoCal, come out this way, man. Men, come out this way. I'd love to see you. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
do a live interview together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to have to come see one of your shows at some point. I noticed that I think there were some around me that I was booked during the nights that you were playing, but I'll come out and try to give you guys a shout at some point. But I'm glad to see that things are still going well, playing around the New York area. And keep up the great work. And it's been really fun having you. I know you guys weren't on the show, but it's been fun talking to you through the chat and having your great material on the show for sure.
Yeah, let's close with a little bit more. How about for those who joined us late, maybe didn't see anything, let's play a little bit more of Jerusalem. Let's do that. I'm going to start it and then skip ahead a bit. Very, very good job. That as well is not an easy song to pull off. Writing them a quick note in response to one of their questions here. Bear with me, folks. All right. In closing, that's the takeaway, everybody. The takeaway is don't just play the math, emulate the technique, the style, the sounds. If you want to go as far as actually being a where you're going to reenact everything, like the musical box literally reenacts not just the stage setup, but every little dance move by Peter Gabriel. You know, I'm having a senior moment, Jason. What do we call that? Role play band. Role play band. That's right. So you got your tribute band, your role play band, whatever suits you, even if it's just a matter of taking away new tools to put in your toolbox by really getting down their sounds and techniques. Go for it. That's why we do this show. We'll see you next month. We'll find another great band to feature. And guys, Rob, Ron, and John, thanks so much for carrying that torch, great music, and letting us feature you. And who knows, maybe my wife and I will come out to New York. We'll see.
I've been telling you that forever, and
I
you
know.
have a place to stay.
We're going to have to, I'll talk to her. We've been wanting to do, we've been together 15 years. We've never been back to where she's from. So we're going to have to go back there.
Bad woman. I'm going to send her a hate email.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for following what we do here on A Tribute to the Tributes on Drum Talk TV. And thank you for following Drum Talk TV. Watch for some great videos by our fans from all over the world, over 100 countries, as well as Dan's Almost Daily Vlog. We got Dr. Nadia coming back, I think, next week or the week after with Drumming Injury Talk with Dr. Nadia and some other great stuff. We'll see you soon.